The cycle of problem solving. This is a really passionate topic for me because it doesn't matter who you are, you will come across trials, tribulations, you will come across difficult tasks. It doesn't matter what industry, what walk of life, things will not always go according to the way you thought. In particular, I'm doing this topic during the COVID-19 virus. And so what that means is right now, businesses all over America have been shut down. Certain states like mine, the state of Washington, employers have been told not to open their doors unless they're, a critical business. And so the trickle down of this is tremendous. And so if you're in business in the state of Washington, that's a problem, right? Well, what do you do? I mean, you can complain, you can gripe, you can, find some kind of vice that'll, maybe temporarily ease the pain, but those aren't answers. The answer is to go through the cycle of problem solving. And there's many different charts or, pathways to solve problems. I mean, one that I'm very familiar with is identify, explore, set goals, alternatives, select, implement, and then evaluate. But I just think there's too many steps in that 7-step cycle. And I like to keep things simple. Usually I like 3 or 4 steps. If you have 3 or 4 steps, then you can probably memorize them, which means you can do them. And I'm all about the actual activity, not just let's have a meeting or let's have a, some kind of workshop so that we can talk a good game. No, I want results. And so the cycle of problem solving that I've put together is really simple. There's 4 steps. The first step is to identify the problem. The second step is to analyze the problem and come up with some solutions. The third step is to apply those solutions, and then fourth is to actually evaluate where you're at so that you can actually make progress. Again, the goal isn't to just have a meeting. The goal is to be productive, and by productivity, I mean to find the solution. And so problem solving simply requires specific identifiable explanations to fix, adjust, and unfold complicated obstacles, so that we provide clarification for results. What we don't want is we don't want to have, kind of these exploratory meetings. Really, they're my least favorite kind, and why I've come to not like the general term of collaboration, because collaboration generally means, hey, we've got a problem. We invite everybody to a meeting. They sit around the table. Nobody's prepared. Nobody's really been thoughtful to go through kind of the cycle of problem solving, or has read a book, or has done any research. They're just, a pool of ignorance. And I don't mean to be critical, but it's just the way it is. And usually the most ignorant people talk the most, and really nothing gets done. And so that meeting during this critical time is just people going around in circles chasing their own tail. And the reason is because the real problem is never rooted out. They never really pinpoint the problem. And so this whole process is to pinpoint the problem, not to come up with pithy, but real solutions, and to prevent the meeting from going down, unforeseen rabbit trails, because then at the end of the meeting, maybe a lot of people talked, maybe there were some even good things shared, but they were rabbit trails and didn't actually, solve the problem at hand. And so the first step is to identify. We need to, identify the problem specifically. Sometimes you need to develop a broad understanding of some new material in order to identify the old problem. You need to be very, very familiar with the problem in order to recognize and point it out or to pinpoint it. So right now in let's say in sales, if you're a salesperson and you're in the state of Washington and they've closed the doors to most businesses, well, the only way you eat, the only way you provide for your family is to call local businesses set up appointments, and make sales. Well, how do you do that when those local businesses are closed? And so that's a pretty big problem. So you have to identify, well, the biggest problem right now that we're having is the business being open. And then if the business is open, they're probably really, really busy right now. And so they don't have time maybe to, explore or review new opportunities. Or two, the business is just dying and trying to survive, and they don't want to deal with introducing new business solutions. So that would be a pretty identifiable problem, but you still must contact the business and get through. So what are you going to do? Well, in analyzing the situation, there may be some technological opportunities and things that can help you on the back end, but on the front end, you need to get through the front door to decision makers. And so the idea of analyzing and then is connecting this new information to the material that you already have, you've already learned, and to think about new material that may be applied to some of these scenarios. And this is where not random collaborating, but real brainstorming can take form. You explore alternatives, you scrutinize every problem. And so right now what we've been doing is we're looking at, okay, well, how do we actually not so much connect with business owners, because we know that's going to be hard right now. Because people do not want to meet in person, and that's our bread and butter. That's primarily what we do. And so if we are able to get an appointment by phone, well, now we need to take that next step, and that's where we need to analyze and brainstorm some alternative, which means, we're looking at, go-to meetings and, different PowerPoint presentations and emailing things and just sharing things from digital platforms so that we're not actually meeting people in person. So our brainstorming sessions really right now have revolved around, well, different people's experiences from different walks of life, from different types of applications. It could be from a church application or a school application or a sports team application, how we're sharing ideas and communicating with each other. We're taking that, analyzing it, and then we're putting that together with our problem, which is, getting appointments and meeting with business owners for presentations so that we make sales. So we have to apply it. So, right now we're in the process of saying, okay, well, we're going to take something like, GoToMeeting, and we're going to do presentations that way. We're going to do it, through apps. And that's the solution we picked. And so it may not be the only solution, but we have to make decisions. And more importantly, the leaders have to make decisions for the team. The leaders have to give direction to the team so that you can actually now, set action goals, implement benchmarks, and then apply the knowledge that you've learned and apply, whatever application it is that you're going to use to move forward. And then you have to evaluate. Think about how things could be adjusted, how they could be modified. Again, think about problems this way. Problems are the way that we've always advanced. The way we always advance, and this is what makes America so amazing, is that the American spirit is, hey, there's a problem. If I can come up with the solution or a fix, then I can monetize that and serve people and provide for my family at the same time. So problems can actually be a great way for your company to grow, to advance, and take the next step forward. So many of us are old and set in our previous ways when really we need to evaluate what's going on. And so this problem helps us to, assess, each of these problems, solve them, think about how and why we're currently doing what we're doing, and form some new ideas, make some new adjustments. And so I like problem solving. It's actually part of the process that I really enjoy. And when there's a problem, I sit down and, again, I identify the real problem. I lock in on it. I do that by analyzing it, by reviewing it. I really try to bring in some smarter people than me or people with different experiences to brainstorm, to scrutinize. Then we can pick a solution and apply it, set goals, implement real benchmarks, and then repeat the cycle by evaluating it and being willing to be flexible to make the right adjustments. And so that's the cycle of problem solving.